What really happened in Houston that night? A simple dice game, or something far darker? The internet claims it all started with hospitality, trust, and a high-stakes game that may have been rigged from the beginning. But one mistake changed everything. From celebration to confrontation, to a tragic ending in a parking lot. And the biggest question still remains, was it just a robbery, or something more? Since Prince Jr. was connected to the startling circumstance surrounding Duke the jeweler, he has apparently been the subject of considerable public investigation. The internet hasn't stopped discussing what purportedly started out as a straightforward dice game that descended into anarchy. Although the account seems implausible, this is the purported course of events. You must know who is engaged in order to comprehend the situation. J. Prince, the renowned Rap-A-Lot Records founder, is the father of J. Prince Jr. by assisting musicians and establishing genuine opportunities. His father established a well-respected hip-hop history. Online debates, however, claim that J. Prince Jr. acquired a whole distinct persona. Critics claim he attempted to portray himself as a street person in Houston's social scene, despite the fact that he was allegedly raised in comfort, private schools, and secure neighborhoods. According to some, he used his father's name to intimidate and acquire power. A lot of individuals draw attention to the difference between persona and privilege. This is where things are said to get darker. According to internet rumors, J. Prince Jr. and his colleagues were operating fixed dice games. Those who are claimed to have a thorough understanding of the system are Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice, whose names are frequently discussed. Rumor has it that this wasn't a random occurrence. It had a structure. The purported strategy was calculated. They would first look for well-known tourists passing through Houston, such as rappers, athletes, and business owners. Social media, jewelry, automobiles, lifestyle, and spending patterns would all be thoroughly examined. It was similar to scouting before acting. According to reports, J. Prince Jr. would then intervene with amiable energy, extending a warm welcome to the city and promising to demonstrate Houston love. Everything seemed reliable because of his family's reputation. Visitors felt safe and appreciated. The hospitality followed, with pricey dinners, VIP areas, bottles, and introductions to prominent locals. The guests were welcomed. Allegations, however, suggest that this was only the beginning of the process of establishing trust. "Pull up tonight" would be the casual invitation to the dice game once comfort had been established. "We're playing dice." Small wagers, jokes, and perhaps even letting the visitor win early to boost confidence would be the beginning. Loaded dice would then supposedly be introduced without warning. The crew would then carefully switch turns, managing the game's tempo. The overall trend favored the house, but occasional victories kept the guest interested. The guest would purportedly depart with a considerable loss of money by the end. That is the template that is being shared on the internet. Duke the jeweler followed. Duke was a well-known businessman in the hip-hop jeweler sector, renowned for his achievements and connections. He stood out due to his ostentatious lifestyle and notoriety. Duke reportedly received VIP treatment upon his arrival in Houston. J. Prince Jr. made him feel welcome, gave him a tour, and introduced him to important people. It appeared to be authentic hospitality from the outside. Duke appeared to think he was making genuine connections. The dice game apparently entered the picture after a night of revelry. Duke nodded at ease and at ease. Everything seemed typical at first. Friendly competition, small bets, and good vibes. Then, reportedly, an unforeseen event occurred. Online reports state that a crew member gave the loaded dice to Duke by mistake, rather than retaining them for the team. According to reports, that one mistake completely changed the course of events. Duke started winning consecutive games, and the money was piling up nicely. It would appear to be amazing luck in a fair game. However, it supposedly caused instant tension in a staged setup. The team was unable to respond candidly without coming under suspicion. To accuse Duke would be to acknowledge that the game wasn't fair. Stopping abruptly would be interpreted as suspicious. Their own system had imprisoned them. Duke, meanwhile, continued to win. According to reports, the atmosphere changed, with less smiles and more annoyance. Now the dice that were supposed to ensure success were working against them. Unaware of any purported manipulation, Duke rejoiced at what seemed to be a run of good fortune. He probably thought Houston truly loved him. Rumor has it, however, that the energy had shifted behind the scenes. Reputations and influence could be harmed if word got out that their system could be compromised, even unintentionally. According to the rumors, a new decision was reached that same evening. Lil Boozy reportedly asked Duke to a concert to celebrate his significant victory. On the surface, it sounded like welcoming hospitality, carrying on the festivities following a successful evening. Duke had no cause for suspicion. For him, it was just savoring the experience and making new friends. However, as the narrative progresses, the environment was altered behind closed doors. At the concert that night, Duke was supposedly unaware that he was entering a trap. Confident, pleased, and celebrating his significant victory, he was in a good mood. Like any prosperous businessman, he was merely savoring the occasion while sporting ostentatious jewelry and carrying the money from the dice game. With its bright lights, loud music, and enthusiastic audience, the event seemed typical. Online rumors, however, claim that people were apparently attentively observing Duke as he celebrated. According to some, the incident provided the ideal setting for tracking his activities, including who he spoke to, where he stood, and when he may be alone himself. Rumor has it that the goal was not only to get back the money that had been lost, but also to prevent him from talking about what allegedly transpired during the dice game. Duke thought the evening was finished when the play came to a conclusion and headed for his car. According to reports, things became dangerous at that point. He was apparently confronted by a number of people in the parking lot who demanded the money he had won. Duke declined, thinking he had a right to do so. Tragic events ensued. According to reports, Duke was killed in the ensuing commotion as the altercation swiftly got out of hand. What happened next heightened public mistrust. According to reports, his jewelry, which included pricey watches, rings, and chains, was undamaged. The money was the only thing stolen. Just that fact led to a lot of conjecture. By morning, Houston was buzzing. When word of Duke's passing spread quickly, social media was flooded with inquiries. Some initially thought it was a botched heist. However, many started to doubt that theory after learning that his possessions were still on him. Shortly before the tragedy, Duke was seen laughing and chatting with people in J. Prince Jr.'s inner circle in concert footage that quickly went viral online. Fans were devastated by the juxtaposition between joy and sorrow. In an attempt to piece together what transpired, online critics examined posts, screenshots, and purported eyewitness testimonies. The rumors increased in volume. According to some people seemed anxious thereafter. Some reported heated arguments in the parking lot. Even though there were still many unanswered questions, the conjecture persisted. The name of J. Prince Jr. started to gain popularity. There was controversy about his quiet. Some regarded it as a legal tactic, while others saw it as a sign of distance. According to reports, social media accounts were erased, posts were removed, and comments were blocked. It made it even more mysterious to many onlookers. According to the story emerging online, Duke's death might not have been random but rather related to the dice game and money lost. The notion soon gained traction, even though none of it was verified in court at the time. Later that year, Takeoff from Migos was involved in yet another tragedy that hit Houston. Quavo and Takeoff reportedly received comparable hospitality while in Houston, including dinners, VIP treatment, and discussions about playing a dice game. Everything appeared to be routine at first. However, it is said that significant sums of money entered the game as the evening went on. Quavo reportedly started losing a lot of money, more than $100,000 in a short period of time, according to sources. He was used to high-stakes situations and apparently thought something wasn't quite right. He saw recurring trends with Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice, according to observers, controlled dice movement and steady wins. Quavo allegedly questioned the game as suspicions mounted. The tension rapidly increased. They raised their voices. According to reports, what started out as a gaming argument descended into mayhem. Takeoff, who was not directly involved in the argument, regrettably died in the midst of that commotion. The industry was taken aback by the incident. After Lil Cam was arrested in relation to the case, the public's perception that there were more serious problems with those events grew. J. Prince Jr. addressed the subject in interviews and statements as the demand increased. His tone and body language were criticized for allegedly avoiding some direct inquiries. The speculation only grew. Then a second layer appeared. In a public statement, WAC 100 suggested that J. Prince Jr. might have been assisting federal investigators. He said he overheard discussions about possible law enforcement measures involving other people. That would drastically change the story if it were accurate. Federal activities throughout Houston were later reported, and some arrests were linked by some to those allegations. However, nothing was publicly confirmed to link everything together. Some speculate that this may be the reason why J. Prince Jr. is still at large while a number of his friends are purportedly facing legal issues, including grave charges against those allegedly involved in the dice games. The events from Duke's untimely death to Takeoff's devastating defeat depicted escalating hostilities, risky gambling, and potential federal investigation. Regardless of the veracity of any accusation, the cultural impact has been indisputable. However, J. Prince Jr. still acts confidently in public. Critics interpret the poise as a sign of protection, conveys innocence to fans. The cultural change is evident. These incidents had an impact on more than simply individuals. They also changed the way that some artists today saw Houston. In some business circles, a city that was previously renowned for its warmth and southern friendliness is now viewed with trepidation. According to reports, promoters encounter difficulties because certain performers are extremely cautious. Once a source of pride, Houston's welcoming image is now perceived by some as suspicious. Invitations are questioned. People have varied perspectives on dice games. Trust must now be earned. It is no longer given. Furthermore, the discussion about hip-hop's power, influence, and accountability is still ongoing as the plot progresses. Many critics believe that the underlying problem is cultural. Hip-hop evolved from hardship into opportunity and was founded on devotion, solidarity, and respect for one another. However, some critics claim that J. Prince Jr. transformed that basis into something more self-serving. They assert that trust might have been exploited as leverage rather than as a means of uplifting others. The contrast is remarkable. He had the opportunity to make a difference because of his well-known family name, solid industry ties, and widespread awareness in the community. Online rumors, however, suggest that those benefits might have been diverted for private benefit. The story itself has already disrupted relationships and harmed reputations, whether it is true or not. What can be learned, then? First of all, credibility should never be taken for granted. Personal character cannot be replaced by a legacy or last name. Consistent behavior over time fosters respect. Second, enhanced safety systems, verified contacts, dependable security, and awareness of potentially hazardous environments are necessary for artists who travel between places. Anyone in the entertainment industry needs to be very aware of who they are working with. It's usually safer to take a step back if something seems off. No chance is worth jeopardizing one's safety for. The fact that danger does not often originate from apparent adversaries is another challenging reality. Sometimes it passes for celebration, hospitality, or friendship. Physical threats may be prevented with security, but social or psychological manipulation calls for knowledge and vigilance. The whole story evolved beyond a simple headline. It illustrated how pride, ego, and influence may occasionally clash with negative results. Many think it revealed a problematic mindset in some sectors of the culture, where loyalty may be overshadowed by rapid profit and attention can take precedence above integrity. Claims and counterclaims continue to surface as investigations allegedly go on. Some people who used to be openly connected to J. Prince Jr. have stopped talking. Others, who wish to remain anonymous, assert that private meetings, dubious money activity, and uneasy energy were warning flags long before these instances came to light. These claims have not been formally confirmed. Meanwhile, Houston's reputation has taken a hit. According to industry insiders, musicians are becoming more circumspect, avoiding unsanctioned invitations, keeping closer groups, and choosing their private events carefully. Some people think that after these incidents, the vibe of the city's nightlife has evolved. J. Prince Jr., meanwhile, seems unaffected and keeps making regular appearances at events, clubs, and online. Opinions on that confidence are mixed. Critics see it as protection or a deeper, covert influence, while supporters see it as proof of innocence. There is no doubt that this story is far from over. The impact might go much beyond Houston and change conversations throughout the hip-hop industry if fresh information or legal developments surface. It's crucial to keep in mind that a large portion of the discussion is based on stories, internet discussions, and accusations, including those related to WAC 100. Investigations are apparently still underway, and none of these claims have been validated in court. It is widely known that federal investigators have looked into cases involving J. Prince Jr. and suspected gambling networks. More details may come to light in the future, and the case has not been formally closed. Takeoff and Duke the Jeweler's deaths are part of the tragedy at the heart of this tale. Careers were interrupted, families suffered, and a major music city's cultural reputation was damaged in the end. This case serves as a reminder that when authority is exercised without accountability, it can have far-reaching effects. It is challenging to regain trust once it has been damaged. If this analysis was helpful to you, please subscribe for more in-depth analyses of contentious hip-hop stories and like the video to help the channel. Tell us in the comments below if you believe that official charges will eventually result from this issue or if it will eventually go away. Be mindful, use caution, and keep your peace.